Mark wasn't backing down. Believing his status as a tourist gave him carte blanche, he hurled a water bottle at Lieutenant Alexander, blatantly disrespecting the symbol of British honor. But Alexander's calm yet resolute response left everyone around stunned and speechless. What followed shattered expectations and ignited a wildfire of reactions online, turning a simple confrontation into a viral sensation. Just when it seemed things couldn't escalate further, an unexpected ally stepped into the fray, flipping the script entirely. What happened next would change everything. London, early morning. Trafalgar Square gleamed under the harsh sunlight, the red-coated royal guards standing rigid in their iconic bearskin hats. Among them was Lieutenant Alexander Wilkinson, the epitome of British discipline and honor. His sharp eyes scanned the crowd, ever watchful, yet exuding calm authority. Today was supposed to be routine, tourists from around the globe flocking to snap that perfect photo with the legendary guards. Alexander took pride in his duty, nodding politely and maintaining the impeccable order Trafalgar was known for. His uniform was spotless, his stance flawless, a testament to years of unwavering dedication. Enter Mark Thompson, the poster child of modern entitlement. Tall, loud, and obnoxiously flamboyant, Mark lugged an oversized backpack that screamed, "I'm here to disrupt." From the moment he arrived, his mission was clear: ruin the sanctity of tradition for a quick laugh and viral fame. "Hey dude, smile for the camera. Let's get that perfect selfie later," Mark yelled, his voice piercing the morning calm. He waved his phone like a flag, desperately seeking Alexander's attention. The lieutenant remained unshaken, his expression unreadable. Seriously, who acts like that in a place steeped in history? It was beyond irritating. As Mark pushed through the crowd, his antics grew more desperate. He mimicked the guards' stiff poses, exaggerating every move with mocking precision. "Look at me! I'm a royal guard! Hey, can you flex those muscles for the gram?" he taunted, oblivious to the disapproving stares around him. Alexander stayed professional, each nod a silent rebuke to Mark's blatant disrespect. The crowd began to react. Some laughed at Mark's foolish behavior, finding it amusing, while others frowned, clearly annoyed by his disrespect. "Come on, man, show some respect," an elderly couple muttered, rolling their eyes. Teenagers nearby captured every moment, their phones recording the unfolding spectacle. Mark's persistence was almost pathetic. He climbed onto a bench for a better angle, invading Alexander's personal space. "What's the matter? Can't handle a little fun? Lighten up, it's just a photo," he sneered, dripping with entitlement. Because clearly, paying big bucks for a vacation gave him the right to mock national traditions. "Who does that?" Alexander took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Mark's arrogance. Inside, he battled the urge to retaliate, knowing that losing his cool would only give Mark the satisfaction he craved. But watching this tourist turn a symbol of pride into his personal playground stirred a sense of injustice. Seriously, who does that? As Mark rummaged through his oversized backpack, pulling out a gaudy souvenir hat, the tension peaked. "Check this out. You'd look way cooler with a hat like this," he jeered, tossing it towards Alexander's head. The hat sailed through the air, a ridiculous sight against the dignified backdrop of the royal guards. Alexander stood his ground, the hat landing harmlessly beside his feet. He glanced down, then back up at Mark, his expression still composed but eyes flashing with restrained frustration. The crowd held its breath, sensing the impending showdown between steadfast tradition and brazen modernity. "Sir, please," Alexander replied calmly but firmly. "This is a place of respect and honor. I ask you to stop these actions." Mark just laughed, stepping closer with a smug grin. "Oh, come on! Don't be such a stick in the mud. It's all in good fun." His arrogance was palpable, as if his status as a tourist entitled him to dismantle centuries-old traditions. Well, who does that? It was a perfect storm of irreverence and entitlement, and Alexander knew he had to handle it carefully. As the morning wore on, Trafalgar Square swelled with even more tourists, their chatter blending into a cacophony that contrasted sharply with the disciplined silence of the royal guards. Mark Thompson, undeterred by the growing crowd, became increasingly obnoxious. What started as playful teasing quickly spiraled into blatant disrespect. Mark's antics escalated from verbal jabs to physical provocations. He reached out to touch Alexander's bearskin hat, only to miss miserably, causing his oversized backpack to swing wildly and nearly knock over a nearby vendor's stall. "Come on, man, show us what you've got. Pose like a real guard," Mark taunted, his voice dripping with entitlement. Seriously, who thinks it's acceptable to treat a symbol of national pride like a prop for their amusement? Alexander remained the picture of composure, his face a mask of calm determination. Inside, however, frustration simmered. Every failed attempt by Mark to elicit a reaction only fueled his sense of duty to uphold the honor of the guards. The irony wasn't lost on him. Here he was, a living emblem of tradition, being mocked by someone who clearly didn't understand its value. We all know the Royal Guards aren't here for your entertainment, yet here we are watching Mark turn a sacred duty into his personal stage. The crowd's reaction was mixed. Some found Mark's behavior hilarious, snapping photos and laughing, while others frowned, shaking their heads in disapproval. "Show some respect, dude," an elderly woman whispered to her companion, her eyes narrowing at Mark's antics. Teenagers nearby couldn't get enough, live streaming the spectacle for their followers. It was a classic clash of old versus new, and Mark was reveling in the chaos he was creating. Just when it seemed like Mark couldn't push any further, he took it up a notch. Grabbing a bag of chips from his backpack, he nonchalantly tossed them towards Alexander. The chips flew through the air, some landing harmlessly on the ground, while others smacked against Alexander's uniform. "What's the matter? Can't handle a little snack time? Lighten up," Mark jeered, his smirk unwavering. Seriously, who does that? It's beyond disrespectful and just plain stupid. Alexander's patience was wearing thin, but he held his ground. He picked up a chip, glanced at Mark, and with a calm yet stern voice, he said, "Sir, this behavior is unacceptable. Please respect the tradition and the people here." His words cut through the noise, drawing the attention of the entire square. Mark, however, saw this as a challenge. "Oh, come on, don't be such a buzzkill. It's all in good fun," he retorted, clearly not understanding the gravity of his actions. At that moment, a little girl approached Alexander, her eyes wide with worry. She held out her lost teddy bear, her small hand trembling. Without hesitation, Alexander knelt down, gently taking the bear and handing it back to her. The crowd's mood shifted instantly. Smiles replaced frowns, and applause broke out. Even Mark paused, momentarily taken aback by the genuine kindness Alexander displayed. But Mark wasn't done. Feeling the shift in the crowd's energy, he grabbed a plastic bag of snacks and hurled it directly at Alexander's shoulder. The bag landed with a soft thud, but the insult was clear. The tension in the air was palpable, and the crowd began to rally behind Alexander. "This is ridiculous!" someone shouted, echoing the sentiments of many. "Show some respect!" Mark, now realizing his actions were backfiring, tried to laugh it off. "Whatever, man. You're no fun," he muttered, backing away slowly. But the damage was done. The crowd's support for Alexander was unwavering, and Mark's attempts to undermine the tradition only highlighted his own ignorance and entitlement. Just when it seemed like Mark couldn't push any further, he decided to escalate things dramatically. With a smirk plastered across his face, he grabbed a large plastic bottle of water from his overflowing backpack. Without a second thought, he hurled it straight at Alexander. The bottle sailed through the air, hitting Alexander squarely on the bearskin hat and leaving a noticeable dent. "Seriously, dude? What is wrong with you?" Someone in the crowd muttered under their breath. "Oh, come on! Who throws a water bottle at a guard? This is beyond disrespectful." The impact sent a slight wobble through Alexander's stance, but he remained composed, his expression still calm, but eyes flashing with restrained anger. The crowd erupted in mixed reactions. Some gasped in shock, others started shouting insults at Mark, while a significant number rallied behind Alexander. "Get a grip, man! Show some respect!" echoed through the square. At that moment, an elderly gentleman stepped forward from the crowd. He was clearly a veteran, his uniform a bit worn, but his demeanor unwavering. He approached Alexander, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "In our service, it's not just about strength, but honor," he said quietly. "You handled that with the dignity we strive for. Well done, Alexander." These words seemed to infuse Alexander with renewed strength. Instead of retaliating, he raised his hand calmly and addressed Mark with unwavering authority. "Sir, please stop this behavior. You're not only disrupting the order, but also disrespecting the traditions we uphold." The square fell silent, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Mark looked around, suddenly realizing the gravity of his actions. "Oh, come on. It's just a bit of fun," he muttered, but his bravado had faded. The crowd's support for Alexander became unmistakable. Phones were out, recording every moment, and the comments were pouring in even before the video could fully circulate online. "This guy is a hero," one user wrote. "Mark, you crossed the line." Mark, sensing the shift in the crowd's energy, tried to backtrack. "I was just joking around," he claimed, but the damage was done. The veteran's words and Alexander's composed response had turned the tide. The crowd began to chant, "Respect the guards," and "Leave him alone." Seeing no way out, Alexander turned to the security personnel stationed nearby. "Please, escort him off the premises. He's disrupting our duty and disrespecting our traditions." The guards moved in swiftly, their presence authoritative yet respectful. Mark was gently but firmly guided away from the square, his attempts to protest falling on deaf ears. As he was led out, a few more onlookers started clapping for Alexander, their admiration palpable. The security guards, receiving Alexander's clear directive, approached Mark with the precision of a well-oiled machine. Mark stood there, looking more like a deflated balloon than the audacious disruptor he had been just moments before. The crowd, now fully invested in the drama unfolding before them, began to shift their attention. "Come on, man, just leave," one of the guards said firmly, but politely. Mark scoffed, trying to maintain his facade of bravado. "Why are you making such a big deal out of this? It's just a little fun." Seriously, who acts like a complete moron in such a revered place? It's just beyond infuriating. As Mark was gently but firmly guided away, the crowd erupted into applause. Phones were whipped out, capturing every second of his exit. "This guard is a real hero," one user commented online, while another added, "Finally, someone stood up to that jerk." Alexander watched as Mark was escorted out, a sense of relief washing over him. He took a moment to straighten his uniform, the weight of the situation still lingering, but now overshadowed by the overwhelming support from the crowd. The elderly veteran, whose presence had been a quiet anchor during the chaos, gave Alexander a nod of approval. "Well done, son," he said with a warm smile. "You've upheld the honor we all cherish." The square began to calm down, the initial tension dissipating like morning mist. Tourists who had been recording the incident started sharing their videos online, and within minutes, the footage had gone viral. Social media exploded with praise for Alexander's unwavering professionalism and condemnation of Mark's reckless behavior. "Absolutely incredible," one commenter wrote. "A true symbol of British pride and dignity." "Mark, you crossed the line. Respect our traditions," another user added, echoing the sentiments of countless others who couldn't believe the audacity of one man to challenge such esteemed symbols. Seeing the backlash Mark was receiving, he couldn't help but feel the sting of public humiliation. His attempts to portray himself as the center of attention had backfired spectacularly. With his reputation tarnished and the crowd's support firmly behind Alexander, Mark finally realized the gravity of his actions. Gathering his thoughts, he took a deep breath and stepped back into the crowd. I'm sorry," Mark muttered, his earlier defiance replaced by genuine remorse. "I didn't mean to cause so much trouble." The crowd, witnessing this moment of vulnerability, began to soften their stance. Some even offered tentative smiles, recognizing his attempt to make amends. Alexander, maintaining his composure, nodded politely. "Thank you for understanding, sir. We appreciate your apology." With the situation finally under control, Alexander returned to his post, adjusting his bearskin hat with a dignified grace. The crowd dispersed, leaving behind a lingering sense of respect and admiration. Comments continued to pour in, celebrating the guard's integrity, and the importance of preserving cultural traditions. Outstanding work, Alexander. You showed true strength in restraint and honor. Such dedication to duty is inspiring. Kudos to you and the Royal Guards. As the sun began to set over Trafalgar Square, the echoes of the day's events still resonated. Alexander stood tall, a beacon of tradition and respect, reminding everyone of the value of honoring the past amidst the relentless march of modernity. His actions had not only defended the integrity of the Royal Guards, but had also sparked a necessary conversation about respect and cultural preservation in an increasingly indifferent world.